Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for inviting me here. Hi, everyone. So, hope thank you so much for coming to this session. So today we are going to discuss about like how what is web design and how anyone can get into web design and how it is differentiated with the aspect of web development and what kind of more things into it. But going forward, I would just start with just with a warm welcome. Thank you everyone for coming in, and I hope that you guys really get inspired by this particular session. Now going forward, who am I? So I am basically a UX designer by profession. I am a founder of a community called Design Hat, where we have around 100 plus people who help students get into design industry and stuff. I am also an intern, UX intern at Growth School. I have done my UX internship at Brown University. I have mentored over 300 students about design, and I had my first startup when I was 13. But its decision is about what is what is basically web design. So what is the agenda for today's session is that to tell you guys about, firstly, we will start with what is UI and what is UX, how they are differentiated, and what is more prominent nowadays, should anyone pursue this career or not. Then moving forward, we will discuss about what is web design. Then what is really what is web design? Do we need to use coding? Do we not need to use coding? What is it? Then going forward, we are going to discuss about the elements of web design, that when we are trying to make a web design, what should we really follow? What are the kind of elements that we need to take care of when we are trying to make a design? Then the next step is working on the creating user-friendly experience. So when I will talk to you about the UI UX part, I will explain why UX is really important as much as the UI. So we will talk about that how user-friendly experience is really uh, I think collaborated within a UI, and it gives you a perfect output. Then we will talk about what really a web designer does. Okay, so you became a web designer. Now, like, you want to be web designer. What should you expect when you're in an industry? Then we will talk about what are the tools that a web designer uses. So just being clear, a web designer can use thousands of tools. They can be same for me. They can be same, cannot be same for me. It really depends on which kind of designer you are, and which tool really resonates you. So we will just talk about the basic tools that are really famous in the industry right now. Then going forward, there are ton of type of web designs. So we are going to talk about one of them that are very famous and prominent right now. That are called landing pages. We are going to talk about landing pages, different types of landing pages. What is the difference between a landing page and a home page? And I will also show you like how I have made one landing page, whose file which I will give you. It's a Figma file. I will give you that, and you can explore that as well. In the last, we will talk about, I will give you some bonuses. I will give you a few things that will help you out when you're trying to get into this particular web design career of yours. And lastly, we will have a Q&A. Don't worry, if you have any doubt in between, you can just ping up in the chat, and we will talk about that. So let's go forward. So firstly, starting with what should be the outcome of this. By the outcome of this, I mean what you should expect. The expectation should be that you should be know about what is really web design, what a web designer does in the industry, and do you really want to get into web design or not. Because getting a really general idea of what is web design and stuff will really help you out to know, are you really built for this particular career or not. Then along with that, we are going to discuss about, like, do really web design resonates with you, or should you try towards UX, or should you try towards UI. We're going to talk about that as well. So let's get started. So let's just starting with UI and UX. So basically, what is UI and what is UX? If we talk about the full forms, UI is user interface and UX is user experience. In theory part, it says that the interaction between a user and a product to perform a particular task presented through interface is called user interface design. Basically, if you have a product and you are the user, you want to do a particular task. How you would do it? By the interface that is present towards you, and that particular whole process is called user interface design. Now, how basically UI and UX are interrelated. So UX design is a human first way of designing products. Basically UX is user experience is how a user, how we can, or how a designer can make a user experience more great, more smooth when they are trying to build something. Now going forward, we're going to talk about product research, ideation, prototyping, testing. These all things come under the UX part. Okay, so when you're trying to make a design, a lot of time you think that when you're trying to make a design, you just make something and it's over. No, before making anything, you do a lot of research. You do interviews, surveys, you ask with the user what they really want, and you provide them that. And that is the basic role of UX, that they give the research, they ideate the research, they analyze it, and that then comes to the UI designers, and they provide a more relevant visual representation of the information that has been given to them. Now, graphic design, visual design, and branding design skills to create interface that have a good feel and look and feel. So all these skills come under UI design. They should know about this. Then when they are trying to make a product, all these skills should is required when they're trying to get into this or make a UI of a particular product. Now going forward, uh, take the user flow and wireframes and turn it into smoothing, aesthetic pleasing. That is basically the role of UI. That when they are trying to get, when they're trying to make something, they have to get into this particular, I would say, but they will have to use all the user flows and wireframes that has been made by a UX team. Then they will make a aesthetically pleasing design. Now moving forward, I will give you a practical example that what is UI and what is UX. Assume that you have a TV, then you have a remote, you are the user. The product is a TV or the remote, and you are the user. The task you have to do is that you want to increase the volume. Now, how can you do that? The step-by-step process is this is firstly I will just clear it up. There is a user, there is a product, there is a task. The user has to complete a task using the product. How would they do it? By using the interface. Now comes how we can make this interface smooth. When you use a remote, you know that there is a button with a volume sign written VOL and a volume symbol, and there's a plus icon and negative icon. Plus means increasing, negative means decreasing. So that is how you understand that how you can increase the volume and decrease the volume. That is what you do in the remote. You know that. Now how you would know that the volume has been increased or decreased? To know that, you have to make a concept. You have to remind yourself that you have to see the screen that there is an interface thing, that once you increase the volume, there is a particular interface that comes up on the screen which shows that volume is being increased, and when you decrease it, the volume is being decreased. That is how we differentiate between the UI and the UX. That if we have the UI, we have made the product so smooth, but if we don't even show the interface, it is not worth it. So we have to analyze how the user, without even knowing something to do, how they should be able to do it. That is called user experience, making the user flow very smooth as much as we can. Now, okay, now going forward, we are going to talk about web design. Let's just talk about a little bit about design, like what really is design, right? So a lot of times when we are talking about design, we really forget about the thing that design is something that a lot of people don't really talk about, right? So design is the process of collecting ideas and aesthetically arranging and implementing them, guided by certain principle for a specific purpose. Okay, so let me just clear this up, that when you are trying to design something, there are a ton of principles that are available in the market. It depends on you which kind of principles you use. It totally depends on the particular type of, I would say, user you or the designer you are. But let me just clear a few things up, that design is not development. You don't have to code a single thing in design, you just have to write it. But if you know about, but you still should be able to know about what really is design, right? You should be able to know that how designers work and like how developers work, and what kind of, like for example, if they are working on React or if they're working on just HTML CSS, what is really feasible as a technical perspective when you're trying to design something. For example, we designed something that was out of the way for them, they won't be able to make it practical when you're trying to make the final product. So that you should keep in mind. Now what is really web design? Web design is a similar process of creation with the intention of presenting the content on electronic web pages which the end user can access through the internet with the help of web browser. So basically the same thing. We design a web page through all the to the intention of basically providing all the content on an electronic web page, which the end user obviously can visit through a web browser, and that's simple as that. Now going forward, what are the basic elements? Like what do we really need to know about? What should we really keep in mind when we're trying to design a web page? Like you might have visited a ton of web pages, right? You might have visited Amazon, Flipkart, Google, Netflix, a thousand and thousands of web pages. But what really are the aspects that you need to keep in mind when you're trying to design a web based product? So basically few things, and these are not limited, these can increase, these can decrease according to a designer, again I'm telling you, but these are the basic things that you should keep your mind on when you're particularly trying to design something. Now going forward, we are going to talk about the few elements. So firstly, we are going to talk about the layout. Basically this is the way the graphic, ads, text are arranged in the web page. In the web world, a key goal is to help the view find the information they seek at a glance. This includes maintaining the balance, consistency, integrity and of the design. So balance, consistency and integrity are the design principles which we need to follow. Now what is basically layout? There are a ton of layout. For example, if you visit a page, it might be possible there are a lot of gaps on the left and the right. These are called paddings and margins. And in few pages they cannot be. It totally depends on them. So the layout of the page is different in terms of when you're trying to design something. Nowadays you might be seeing that when you're trying to visit some website on a mobile, it is different in terms of when you're trying to visit it on a desktop. So that is called the responsive design, when the design responses according to the size of the frame. So keeping the layout very consistent, and layout basically means how and where should a particular thing being placed, because in a whole I would say in a whole web design there are a lot of elements: graphics, ads, text, everything should be placed in a particular manner. So how should they be placed so that when some, like for example, I come to the website and I just want to search something, so I should be able to know where the search icon. I should not be finding in the whole page. I should be able to see it as a one glance. That is what layout really helps us with. Moving on to colors. Colors are basically very important when you're trying to design anything, not just web but anything, because color really defines the purpose and the client. It could be simple black or white to multicolored design, conveying the personality of a person or the brand of an organization using web safe colors. So what are web safe colors? Okay, so let me tell you, if you have bright yellow and you have written a text with a white color on it, you won't be able to see. That is called contrast difference. So that is wrong for the particular product. That is where you are wrong. Instead of that, if you would have used the yellow and a black color on the black text on the top, you might be able to see it properly. That is called contrast right. So you have to make it, when you are using the colors, you have to keep in mind the contrast is right. You have to keep in mind that the brand colors are like showcased in the particular product. For example, if you visit Twitter or if you visit Facebook, their colors are blue, but a little bit different contrast, but their colors are blue. So you are able to see that when you visit the website, you are able to see that what are their brand colors, how they're conveying themselves, and all those colors gives you the vibe that okay, this is Twitter and this is Facebook. Simply on LinkedIn as well, when you visit LinkedIn, you see that as well. Amazon as well, you see all of these things in everywhere. That is where the consistency principle comes in. That is where you understand that colors play a very important role in a human psychology. For example, I will give you an example. For example, if you want to design an app related to nature, or if you design something, a website which sells plants, you would use green color definitely, because green color represent plants, because you have already, the psychology says that green color represent plants and greenery. So you have to remember that as well. So all of these things are very important while choosing a color. And I will tell you guys when I will show you the Figma file of the landing page that I have made, that there is a particular design guide that we make before any wireframing or designing, so that the whole I would say whole file contains the similar contrast or similar amount of color, similar combination of colors. the color should not reach out of those particular predefined colors. Now going forward, what are graphics? Okay, so graphics are very important because without graphics, the whole web page will look like just a random book which we don't want to read. So graphics can include logos, photos, clip arts, icons, all of which enhances the web page. For user friendliness, these need to be placed appropriately, working with the color and content of the web page, while not making it too congested or slow to load. Okay, first thing, when you're trying to put any graphic in it, you don't want any graphic to be very heavy in size because everyone has a limited amount of internet and a limited speed, so it might take a lot of time for that particular graphic to load. So it is better to use a good quality image but with a less space capacity. Then moving forward, graphics include logos, photos, clip art and icons. Each and everything is very important when you're trying to place something, and everything is correlated. So wherever you put your content, you have to analyze that how the graphic should be put it according to it. For example, if you have a photo up front, there are 2-3 choices. If the photo picks half of the page, you can put the content on the right. If the photo picks whole page, you can put content under it with the center line or just a left line. It totally depends on you, how you really want to do it. So if you, for example, if you want to explain what the photo is all about with just one line or one text, you can just write just below the photo, so that particular conveys that this particular photo is this. So this is how you basically work on the graphics. And obviously, as I have written, that user friendliness is very, very important. That, for example, if you have placed a photo that is way beyond the layout, and when you're trying to open it on a mobile, it really gets saturated. So that is something that you have to keep it up, that the whole aspect ratio of the whole image or the graphic that you're using is good enough that everyone can see it, right? No one, like everyone on each and every device can see it. That is what you should keep in mind. And obviously I told you about colors. So for example, if you have a bright color on the back, you can't use a bright image as well. You have to use a darker image, or you have to contrast it well so that it can change towards the aspect of the background. So that are few things that you should keep in mind. Now going forward, there are two more things that that are the main elements when you're trying to design a web page or a web app. That are fonts. As I told you, okay, so you might have seen a lot of website uses a ton of different fonts. That is not right. A particular or perfect web design says you should just like I would say, you should just fix yourself up to the max of 2 fonts. You can either go above, but it depends on the particular client, what really he wants, or what a particular company. If they have a predefined brand sketchbook, they will give you that, and you will get to know the brand guide says these particular amounts of text should be used. For example, Google have their own design guide, Apple have their own design guide. Each and every company have their own design guide which they uses, and it is written over there the amount of fonts and which kind of font they use. Now basically, most web browsers can only read a selected number of fonts, also known as web-safe fonts. So a designer will generally work within this widely accepted group. Okay, so this is very, very important. For example, nowadays also this is also very, I would say, a very a big issue for all of the designers out there, that a few users uses Explorer, a few Edge, you can say right now. A few user uses, I would say, that thing. A few uses Firefox, a few uses Chrome. So each of these things are very important when you're trying to design something, because of the fact that few fonts are available in Edge, few fonts are available in that, but we have to always keep the fonts web safe so that whichever browser the user uses, the font is easily accessible and available to that particular person. Now, so basically, for example, if you go into random sites like DaFont, 1001 fonts and other like that, you will find a ton of fonts, right? But this is not safe. Why? Because a lot of fonts that are available on these websites are not easily found on a web. So what is the workaround is that a lot of people really uses the API that is given on Google Fonts or something like that, which is which you can attach in your particular code and you can use it. But we are not talking about code, so I'm just trying to tell you that it is possible that we can use any font on the internet, but we always prefer to use web safe fonts because that makes more sense and that gives the coding team a less effort to put in. One second, guys. Now going towards content. So content and design can work together to enhance the message of the site through visuals and text. Written text should always be relevant and useful, so as not to confuse the reader and to give them what they want. So they will remain on the site. Content should be optimized for search engines and be of a suitable length, incorporating relevant words. So there are a lot of things that comes over in the content text. Okay, so there's a particular term called UX writing. Yes, there are a lot of people who are getting hired as a UX writer. Why? Because SEO, and if someone knows about marketing, SEO is basically search engine optimization. What the search engine optimization does is that when you're trying to search something on the internet, if the particular amount of words or the same words are on your web page, it gets your website up on the Google feed. So that is what it does. So we have to take care of that, but that's not our job. The content will be analyzed by the marketing team for the SEO, but your task is to get the text that is particularly right in a manner that it is readable for the user. It is not at all like a gibberish language which no one can read. It should be a language that anyone can read or understand. Now, the according to that, content also really is important when you're trying to put it, where you are trying to put it, and how you are trying to put it. For example, if you're getting into some site, you would be able to see that if the heading is of the larger side as compared to, you can say, but the heading is of a larger size uh, as compared to of the body text or the sub body text. So why? Because this basically distinguish between the text, that this text basically is the highlight, and other text, that for example you can see it over here. The element of web design is a bolder font that it says this is the heading. Now these fonts are different, right? These fonts basically give you the aspect that this is the body and this is the heading. So that's how you basically work on the design aspect in web design as well, and how it really works. Now, going forward, we are going to discuss about the creating user-friendly web design. So, what is basically a user-friendly design? User-friendly design is a design which helps the user to get into site easily without or with the maximum with the minimum amount of clicks, and they should not be able to ask a single question. For example, if I am there and I'm going to a randomly new website, I should not ask anyone how should I do something. I should be able to get it, and that's what comes under a user-friendly design. Now, what is or how we can create a user-friendly web design? Now you learned about the basic elements of web design. It basically makes the site beautiful and visually compelling. But how a user should be able to engage with the website that it is friendly to them? Now, so we are going to focus on few topics. Let's start. So first is navigation. Navigation is basically site structure, menu, other navigation tools in the web design must be created with consideration of how users browse and search. The goal is to help the user to move around the site with ease, efficiency, with finding the information they require. So for example, as I told you before as well, that if I need to if I need to search something on the website, right, I should be able to find the search icon on the front page only, because a lot of users will come on the website to search something, like assuming that a website is an e-commerce website. Totally depends on the site as well, but basically it just says that if someone, for example, if I have gone into a lot deeper pages, right, I should be able to find it. How should I go back where I am? All of these things come under user friendly design, that when you're trying to design something, you should be able to provide the user with the aspect that where they are, how they can go back, and everything around it. So when you're trying to go into, let's just say, Amazon, you got into some other product, you have a back button over there, you know how to get back. That's why the particular button is over there, and that's where the navigation part of the particular web design comes in. Now I want to just talk about menus and site structure as well. Menus are basically, you will see, like for example, if you go into any design or any app as well, you would see a menu bar. You will click a hamburger icon, you will see three lines over there. You click over there, you find a lot of icons. That is called a menu bar. In the website, for example, if you go into Amazon, you click on the categories, you see a ton of categories which you can choose from. That is called menu bar. So for example, to make the you make the design user friendly, we make these kind of things. There are a lot of things that I need the user to know, but I need to collectively put it somewhere that they can easily navigate through it. That is where the menu bar comes in. Now, what is site architecture? Site architecture is basically when you are trying to when you are on the research part of the whole journey of the whole design. Basically, you make a site or you make a user flow. I can also say both are different things, but it's kind of similar as well. So basically, site architecture is basically how or where everything should be put in and what should be inside them as well. For example, I designed a wireframe that this particular thing should be there, this particular thing should be there, menu bar should be here, search icon should be here, the logo should be here, and everything. But if I go into something, how should I be able to what should I be able to get into that? Like for example, if I click into the menu bar, what should be there? The setting should be there, the profile should be there, other things as well. So all of these things come under site architecture, and you make it way before when you're trying to design something. So this is all that comes under navigation part. Now going to multimedia. Okay, so relevant videos, audio, stimuli in the design can help user to grasp the information, developing understanding in an easy and quick manner. This can encourage visitors to spend more time on the web page. Okay, so this is very lame example that I'm going to give you, and very I think compatible with each and every one of you. When we were children, we used to like there were books, right? There are two types of books for us. One without pictures, one with pictures. Whenever we used to go into the library, we always want books with pictures or something, or picture. Obviously there were no videos on the book, but yeah, I would say we always want books with pictures that are relevant to us, right? So for example, like I was a very fan of like I would say cars and bikes. So there used to be a car magazine over in my library. So whenever I used to get into my library, I always used to grab that. And why? Because I was just getting bored when I was reading something that didn't have any images. I always wanted to read something or look at something that can engage me. See, so that is the same thing when we come to web design or designing anything nowadays. When you're trying to design anything, you basically focus on the fact that it engages people. Now, what is the particular thing that engages people? That are pictures and videos, right? So using the relevant pictures, using the relevant, I would say, videos and audios would really help you out. For example, if I have a website, I will tell you in the landing page that we can use a video. I will explain that more in the Figma file and the landing page as well. But just trying to get into this a little bit, that using the right video can really engage the platform. For example, if you go into, let's just say, Netflix. Whenever you go into Netflix, there's a particular trailer, there's a particular big hero section that comes up, that is the, you can say, the top 10 pictures or movies in India right now, right? And the trailer plays itself. That is what they're trying to engage the people into. They want the people to get into the website, engage yourself in, and look and explore different things. Whenever you hover on a particular I would say section, you see that particular I would say the trailer of that particular thing gets over you, like plays. So that is what engages you, and that is what a designer should be focusing on. Now going forward, there are three more things. I will go a little fast over these as well. Now, what is compatibility, technology, and interactivity? Let's just go by one. Compatibility. Designing the web page to perform equally well on different browsers and operating systems to increase the viewing. As I told you about, a lot of users what are doing nowadays is they are using different browsers. So we always have to keep it safe that every browser is compatible, or whatever we make is compatible with each and every browser that is available in the market. We can't do that easily, but we make particularly the famous one, and everything is collaborated in between. For example, if we make the design for Google Chrome, everything is almost collaborative, and using web-safe fonts and web-safe colors is really important as well. Now the operating system, as I told you, a lot of people use it on Mac, a lot of people use it on Windows, a lot of people use it on TVs as well. So we have to focus on the fact that that is where the layout comes in, that we leave the padding so that it can adjust according to the I would say according to the device that the particular user is using. Now technology. Advancement in technology gives designers the freedom to add movements and innovation, allowing for web design that is always fresh, dynamic, and professional. Let me tell you an example. I can give you a proper example, but I can give you a theory that, for example, if you're trying to design something, nowadays you can use a lot of things. For example, if you have a phone and you design a web page and it is going to be getting open in a mobile, you can use the functions like vibrate, you can use a function like cameras, you can use ton of things. That is where the technology has advanced, and nowadays a lot of things are advancing in terms of AR, VR, AI, and a lot of other things. So as technology advances, you designer get a lot of freedom, so you should always be fixed towards what you really want and what is actually feasible to the technology that is being used. One thing that always a web designer misses out is that they design a very great visually appealing design, but it is not at all feasible to the developer who is trying to code the website. So always look at that aspect as well. Now going forward, what is interactive? Okay, increase active user participation involvement by adding comment boxes, opinion polls in the design, converting user designs from visitors to clients with email forms and newsletter signups. Okay, so this particular part is very important when you're trying to talk about landing pages. So what is basically interactivity? Interactivity is basically when you are trying to design something in an aspect that it engages people, like adding comment boxes, opinion polls, and converting the visitor who is just visiting the website to a client that they can lead. Like we can get money from them by selling a course or something like that. This is done through email forms, newsletter signups, and something like that. Now going forward, we are going to discuss about what really a web designer does in a particular industry. A web designer is basically a person who designs something according to the technologies that are being used in a particular firm. They basically design navigational element. They basically sometimes a lot of I would say a lot of firms require a web designer to know HTML coding, but it is not at all, I would say, compulsory to know it. Now how they can present content, how they can design search engine optimization and ranking, how they can update the website as needed, they can do research, they can do testing, they can content the brand into the graphic, color and layout and fonts. Like there is a brand, they give you the brand guide and you have to make it into a graphic and everything. Then how when a client explains that this is a particular website I want, you can create their concepts into reality. These all things basically a web designer does. Now what are the tools that a web designer can use? Okay, so these three are the tools that a web designer can use. This is called Figma, Adobe XD and Sketch. If any one of you knows Photoshop, that these tools are very easy done for you. If you don't know even that, this is very used. These are the drag and drop paint type tools. You just have to make your whole design over here. You can do anything. You can do a little bit of animations as well. Just wanted to tell you that Figma is free for a particular user. Then if you are on a team, or you can even purchase a pro plan. I think Adobe XD right now is free, but I really use Figma, so I'm not sure about Adobe XD. I think it's right now it is free, and the Sketch is paid and it is only available for iOS and Mac users. So, yeah. Now going forward, we are going to discuss about landing pages. I'm not going to go into a lot of theory about this. I'm just going to tell you about what is a landing page. Landing page is a basically standalone page, just one page. There are clickable links, but no clickable links which gets to a different parts of the website. This is one website. What is basically purpose of landing pages? This basically comes handy when you're trying to design an advertising campaign. For example, you might have seen a lot of courses. You might have seen a lot of basically courses are only the one thing, or the app as well. App can also have a landing page as well. For example, if you go into a random landing page, there will be a hero image or hero video which explain what is the purpose of you getting enrolled in this course. Then there will be a particular big button over there, register now, sign up now, buy now, something like that. That is called a CTA, call to action. That basically is the focus of the whole landing page, that a lot of users, a lot of visitor comes into that particular part. They should be able to convert into leads, or they should be able to convert into, I would say, clients that you can really use further on. And they are very low cost, so a lot of users use that as well nowadays. Now going forward, we're going to discuss about what is the working of landing pages. So okay, you might have seen basically how this landing pages work is that they make a ad. They are selling a course, right? They made a whole course, or they are selling a workshop of 5 days, right? They made a top funnel. Top funnel is basically they made an ad. They're running the ads on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google, and by email marketing, right? Now what does basically that funnel leads to? That funnel leads to a single link, that is of the landing page. Now what happens in the landing page? Whatever the maximum amount of user comes, that is best. The user comes to a landing page, the user then is converted into a client. How? When they register, or when they register for the workshop, or when they, I would say, mostly they register for the workshop or buy the course. That is how they that is how they convert to a client. and that was the basic goal of the campaign. That is the conversion, right? The last funnel you can see. That is how the landing pages work nowadays. Now, what is the difference between a landing page? That right one is a landing page and the left one is basically a home page. Now, you might be able to see a lot of difference. The landing page doesn't have a lot of content. Why? Because their only focus is to make a person buy a bike or order a bike. They have one CTA over here, that is order now, one button over here, CTA. CTA is call to action, that they really want the user or a visitor to do when someone visits their website. Order now. So this is this particular section where you can see the cycle, get 15% off, and the book now. This particular section is called hero section. That is the main section, the main heart and soul of the whole page. Where when someone visits, they see this page, and if they want to buy it, that the main focus is the I would say the psychology of the human should focus on buying that particular or ordering that particular product. But in terms of home page, you can see that there are a lot of elements. There are a lot of upper menu bar links. There are a lot of random CTAs. There are a lot of products, which basically confuses the user with the amount of option it has, right? So landing pages just focuses on selling the particular thing. That is all. Now what is the example of landing page? These two are example of landing pages. Okay. So left one is a lead generation landing page. What do we really want? We want users' information. We want them to be like, for example, we want their information. For example, they need their phone number, they need their email. Now they will do email marketing with them. They will generate leads after that. We told you about, like, they collected data. Now they will do the email marketing. Then they will create the, I would say, funnel, and then they will go towards the last is a conversion. Now the right one is a click-through page. Click-through page is basically everything that you see right now. Someone makes a page, there's a particular button, register now, order now, start my free trial or something like that. That is a simple button, that is a click-through page. And these are the pages that are very, very prominent right now. Now this is a particular link. Obviously you get the PDF. I will shoot it up the PDF after you fill the form in the last. But I will just show you guys this particular thing. Let me just stop and share again my screen. Okay, this is stopped, and now I will share this particular page. Yep, I hope you guys can see it. Now what this particular page consists of is a landing page that I made a few days back. Okay, I will just this is okay, so let me just clear. This particular is called Figma. This particular software that I'm using over here to design everything is called Figma. Design this is called Figma, and Figma is, as I told you about, free. I'm not going into Figma a lot, but I'm just going to tell you what consists of these things, and there are a ton of tutorials that are around Figma, and if you want to learn Figma, I will tell you in the end how you can learn that as well. Now see, as I told you, there is a design guide that we make. This is a design guide, right? This consists of all the headings that should be over there. I will just zoom it up, and you see the heading 1, heading 2. If you are a little bit coder, you know HTML, you know H1, H2, H3 tag. These are basically that. And then there is body text, medium text, caption text, small text. Every text is over there that we can use and that is allowed to use in this whole particular page. And these are colors. These are different colors. Some are primary color, accent colors, secondary color, secondary 1, secondary dark, secondary light. Then this is a particular border. This is a background color. So these are all the colors that we are going to use, and we are not going to go beyond that. And that is why we make a particular design guide, that we should not go beyond all of these things, because that is what maintains the consistency over whole page. Now, going forward, this is basically background. This is not what you should focus on. But yeah. Now going to the wireframe. What is a wireframe? Wireframe is basically a basic design of the website, that where should go what, and the basic structure of the website which a UX designer should design. Okay. Now, what does it comes up with? So this basically says this is a place where we keep the logo, the center alignment for a little menu bars, the CTA, that is the button, a little heading, a little description, a button, and a hero image. This particular section, that is darker one, that is called hero section. Now going forward, we have the features section. What are the features of the particular product or service? One more feature section with a button, one more feature section with a button. Now this is a heading of the next section, that is basically a membership section. We will talk about a free membership and a paid membership, right? Then there's one more heading, that is the FAQ section, where we give a lot of general questions that has been asked by people and we answer them, that they don't have to waste a lot of time if they have to get answered. Then this is basically end. We have the footer, we have the logo, copyright, and everything. So this is basically how a particular page is being made. And at the end, I will show a little animation which basically will tell you guys that what are the limits of Figma and what are the limits of these softwares. So how we have made it, the logo, a little features, right? And if I click over to features and pricing, it will definitely just scroll it out to this features. And if I click for pricing, it will scroll it up to this. So there are no different pages, just one page. Just click the links to just give the user more chance to go over there. So this is basically an app that we are trying to sell, not sell, just register people to connect with the user, make a community out of it. Sign up button, register now, people can use a hero image that basically gives you a gist of what a web app look like. These are the features, one feature, second feature with a little bit of stats, third feature letting them know that this is into more than 5 languages, prices, one is free, one is paid, right? Then we go into frequently asked questions, what are general questions. Then the last one is the footer where we have the logo, copyright, and a lot of different pages. Now this is basically how we design it, and there are a lot of elements in there, how we do this, that, and that. Obviously that comes into when you go deep into Figma, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about what really happens. So if I click play, I think I have to play it again. Wait, share it again. Wait. Screen 2. Yep. Okay, now you can see a whole scroll screen. So this is basically a page that we made, right? So that we made. Okay, so we can just basically, this is a prototype that we are seeing right now. Once I scroll it down, okay, so my cursor is a little bit laggy, so just bear with me. When we go into down, these are the features section. These are the pricing section. Now see, when we go into pricing, I have done a little bit of animation. I told that we can do animations in it. When we hover over it, it changes color. That is an animation that we have just did in Figma, nothing else, right? And it is very easy to do. Now this is also animation. This is a dark card. If I click over here, it goes to a lighter card. Click over here again, this goes to a dark card. These are basically section. Then one more animation is over there. If we can go down, I hope we can. Let's just see if we can. It's gonna take a lot of time. Okay, just frequently asked question. Now if I want to look the answer to this, I click over here, I look the answer. This is also a Lorem Ipsum sim, but you get the fact that we can get the answer over here by just clicking these type of animation. And one more animation that you just focus on, this is a plus button, this is a negative button to collapse it and elapse it. That is basically it. And this is basically how we can make a full-fledged landing page, which is I would say usable by a user or testable by a user. And that is how we basically communicate through it. Now let's go a little bit forward. Okay, let's just stop it and let's go back to this screen where we talk about going into this, then we are going to talk about the further things. 1 second. Okay, so basically then we are going to go into more. The next thing we okay, so I just opened this one again. Okay, so when we are going to go focus, okay, so now we're going to talk about the bonus section. So bonus basically contains the, okay, so I have my own design community, so I will just share the link to that. If you want to join this, you can. I will give you the copy of this particular PDF. I will also try to upload this seminar recording and give it to you guys. I've recorded it from my end, and then I will give you the update of the future sessions that happens from me around Figma. I teach people a lot of people Figma and everything. I mentor a lot of people personally for free, so you can get that as well. And I will give you a few resources and tools from which basically you can straight away publish your own portfolio that you made in Figma, that you designed something in Figma. You can just straight away publish it on like a domain that you have purchased without using anything. There are a lot of tools out there which are free to do that. Okay, so you have to fill the form if you want all of this thing, and I will just give you the form in the chat box. Can anybody tell me that? Okay, so I have this. Okay. Let me just share this up. If someone just confirms me that if they have reached it, if they have received the form or not. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so obviously you can join the community if I give you this particular PDF. These are the clickable links, or if you want, the particular thing is in that as well. Okay, so let's just get into the Q&A. What I really want from the Q&A is that if you guys have like personalized questions, like how, like what is your particular setup, like what are you doing, and should you go into web design or something like that, you can ask that as well. So yeah, it's up to you. I think they can unmute, right? The audience can unmute. Okay, say yeah. Wait. Yep. Hey, hey, hi. Okay, I think it's. I'm not sure who was asking, but okay. So basically, as a web designer, it is not at all required for you to code. Not at all. Okay, and for example, I would really say that web designer is a more specific term. Like you might have heard of interaction designer, communication designer. If you haven't, there are more specific terms. But the broader perspective is UI UX designer, which do both the research part and the visual representation part both. Basically, if you are a web designer, you will just design websites or web pages or anything related to web, right? One second. Sorry. You will design anything related to web, right? And the one thing that you should keep in mind is that when you're designing something related to web, it is not at all required for you to code. You are just designing it. You're designing it for softwares like Figma, Adobe XD, or Sketch. And for the research, there are other tools as well, but I didn't go into research as of now because it is very deep topic. But yeah, your basic role is to design apps, research about it. If like you will just get, you will be having a team. You will get a lot of people around you who will tell you that this is the thing, this is the thing. You will generate surveys. You will ask users what they really want. You will research about it. You will analyze it, and then you will, once you have analyzed the whole things that you have come up over, then you will do a lot of things that are called affinity mapping, features prioritization, which feature should come first, which should come back, and everything. And then you design a basic, I would say, a web page for that, and then you test it with the users, and you test, is it really feasible with the market. That is basically called validating the market, right? If you market validate is basically when you are into startup and you have a new idea, you make a MVP, minimal viable product. You test it with the market, if it is what the user needs or not. If they do, then we really iterate that process in a way that it goes to a mass audience. So that is basically it for a user, for a web designer. Welcome to the. Yep. Sketch is also good. There are other tools as well, but if you want to really go into the industry enough, if you know any tool, every tool is similar to that. But I would really prefer Figma. There are other tools you can use. Sketch if you want. If you have a Mac, for web, you can also use Photoshop. Okay, so in I think from 2000 to 2015, people used to use Photoshop for designing all of these. But this is Photoshop is a very heavy software. Figma is very very light. So I really prefer, if you are trying to get into this field, just use Figma. Don't go beyond that. Okay. Okay, definitely. I will actually, what I have shared the link now, I will share all the resources like that only in the particular attendee kit that you will get in the email. Okay, you will get all the icons, illustrations, images. I think few more things as well. So I have basically designed that PDF and I will give you that as well. Don't worry. If you need it right now, there's a website called icon8.com. I think you can definitely go to that. It's free for a feasible amount of time. Uh, okay, so there are a few more things. Let me just tell you. One second. Hmm. There's a icon8.com. It is free. Don't worry, dude. It is free. icon8.com/icons. I think there are illustrations. I'm not sure about illustrations, but I'm not sure about that. There are 1 lakhs. I can give you the link in the chat if you want. Wait. Chat. Okay, here. This is where you have around 1,60,000 icons free. So yeah. One more suggestion: if you are using icons, just make it consistent. Like if you are using a outline icon, just use outline icon in the whole design. Don't like experiment with that part. Yeah, welcome. Yeah. If anyone has any other doubt, you can just put it up in the chat as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me over to this. And yep, I think it's out for me, and I'm gonna go. Thank you so much, guys. And I think just explore your field, just explore different things. And I think if you want any help, you have my contact. You can just ping me up anytime, and I'm always available. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, guys.